Hello everyone, welcome to Late Night Frights. I'm your host for this evening, the Thejslone-Dvd. I'm back here doing another video for you. And today is Thursday, which usually Monster Mash 339, aka Zach, usually does his video on Thursday, but he was unable to make his video today, so I said I would fill in for him. So like I said, you'll be seeing me today, and you'll be seeing him tomorrow. So, sorry for the mix-ups. We've been, a lot of things have been happening this week. It's been a very stressful week. But next week we'll be doing a little bit better. We'll have our days on, our days straightened out and all that. So, the two films, as you guys know, we're doing DVD battles this week, and the two horror films that I decided to battle is the 1979 Terror Train versus the 1974 Deranged. Okay, so let's get into this. I'm going to review both films. Sorry, guys. A little cough there. So I'm going to review both films, and I'll battle these two to the death. So let's start off. With Deranged. So Deranged, was, like I said, was made in 1974, which is actually really cool because the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre was made in 1974, and both films were interpretations of the real-life serial killer Ed Gein. Now, in my opinion, Deranged did a better interpretation, and that's not me saying that I dislike Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because Texas Chainsaw Massacre, in my opinion, it did its own thing more than it did a direct interpretation of Ed Gein. It did its own thing, and it's one of the best slashers ever made, which is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. If you haven't seen it, you need to see the movie. But it did its own thing. It kind of said that it was based solely based on Ed Gein, loosely based on Ed Gein. Which I think if it would have based itself completely on Ed Gein, it wouldn't have been great. I just don't think it would have. So, you really can't tell while watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre that it's an Ed Gein based film. To me, you can't. I mean, other than the cannibalism and stuff, none of the stuff really adds up to what Ed Gein actually did. But in this movie, Deranged, this, in my opinion, is like a direct interpretation of Ed Gein. And there's been so many interpretations of his life. There was Psycho was loosely based on Ed Gein. Texas Chainsaw Massacre was loosely based on Ed Gein. They actually made an Ed Gein movie. That all these early on slasher films and just serial killer films in general were based on Ed Gein. A lot of them were, because he was the serial killer of the 70s, 60s. Because he did all these gruesome things that nobody had ever heard about, and everybody wanted to base a movie off that. But this one, Deranged, is a movie that I think flew under the radar. Nobody really gives it the recognition that it deserves. It is a fun movie, very deranged. Yeah, do you see what I did there? I mixed. Okay. But it's a very, very disturbing movie, though. Let's just do this. It's a very disturbing movie in many ways. Like I said, to me, it's like a direct interpretation of Ed Gein's life. Minus a few things. If you actually watch the documentary on Ed Gein, there's a lot of stuff in the movie that Ed Gein didn't do, but most of it, I think it's, like I said, the best interpretation. Because mainly the guy actually looks like Ed Gein, almost identical, and I think it's just a really good movie. If you don't even think of it as an Ed Gein interpretation, just think of it as a guy with mommy issues who, as soon as his mom dies, he starts grave robbing and cannibalistic and murdering people and eating them and having sex with dead bodies. You can think of it that way, but that's mainly what Ed Gein did. But the guy in this movie, the main antagonist, the serial killer in this movie, his name is Ezra, and yeah. So I'll read you the description really quick before we move on. Ezra's good at making friends into home furnishings. Based on the same terrifying true story that inspired Psycho, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and The Silence of the Lambs, this hauntingly scary film chronicles the grisly exploits of a necrophiliac and murderer. Brace yourselves for the solid horror story. It's a really good movie. If you haven't seen it, I would definitely say to check it out if you're a horror fan, which if you watch this channel, you are. So definitely check Deranged out if you haven't seen it. And also check out Motel Hell. I can't show it without mentioning it. It's a fantastic movie. Motel Hell. You can probably get this pack for pretty cheap now. So, okay. Next we're going to review Terror Train. It's already 5 minutes in and I haven't reviewed Terror Train yet. So, Terror Train was made in 1979, starring Jamie Lee Curtis, and it's pretty crazy because she had just made Halloween a year before that. You know, in my mind, Jamie Lee Curtis is the Scream Queen. She is the Scream Queen. That's easily. I mean, she played in so many horror movies. You know, like I said, she played in Halloween 1978, Terror Train 1979, 1981. She played in Halloween 2 sequel. She played in The Fog. She played in numerous horror films. And this one was really good. This one, you know, the director has actually come out and said it's Halloween on a train. Does it do that for me? No, it doesn't, because I am a huge, huge Halloween fan, as you guys know. It just doesn't do that for me. I don't see it as Halloween on a train. It's not nearly as good as Halloween, but it is a really cool story and a fun slasher. If you love slasher films, you'll definitely like this one. Basically, it's about this group of college kids who pull this prank on a freshman that they want him to sleep with Jamie Lee Curtis, or he wants to sleep with Jamie Lee Curtis, and they tell him that she wants to, but actually they're pulling a prank on him and getting him to sleep with the dead. They get him to go in there, and he thinks that it's Jamie Lee Curtis, but it's actually like a dead body from the morgue. They stole a body from the morgue, and it obviously, like it would anybody, it's psychologically brutal. It's, you know, this kid's mind, and nobody sees him. And then a year later, they go on this college-ending train thing where they're having this party on a train where they're leaving college and all this stuff, and people start getting killed off one by one. Who could it be? The cool thing about the killer in this one is he uses different disguises, different masks. You can see there, that's just 3 of many that he uses, which is really cool. I've never seen that done in a movie where he uses different disguises for each kill, which is pretty cool. Fun slasher flick, not the best, not the worst. It is a really good slasher flick, though. If you haven't seen it, I would definitely check it out. If you can get this Scream Factory edition, also the Scream Factory edition is awesome. If you can get this edition, definitely check it out. It's worth a watch. Okay, so let's battle these two to the death. So first round will be body counts. Which one of these had bigger body count? I would have to say that Terror Train had a slightly bigger body count. Nothing to brag about. It didn't have a substantial amount of kills, but it did have a few more than Deranged. So, yeah. Next will be story and originality. Okay, so let me look at these. So Terror Train is not really original because, like I said, the director actually said that he based this around Halloween, or off of Halloween, so it's not really original in that sense. Deranged is not too original either because this was already done by Psycho, and I actually think Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out before this, so 2 films did this before, and it wasn't exactly original either, so I would have to base these off of story. Which story did I like better? I like the Deranged story, but I said I'd seen it done in Texas Chainsaw and Psycho. This one just did it better, I think, but I think Terror Train has a better storyline. I mean, it's cool on a train. You're not going to get off the train unless the train stops. I mean, you can't. It's just a cool thing. Serial killer on a train. What do? He's killing people one by one. And it's like if you're claustrophobic too on a train with a serial killer. That's crazy. So Terror Train. Let me just clarify something really quick. I don't want people to take what I'm saying the wrong way when I say Deranged did its story of Ed Gein better than Texas Chainsaw and Psycho. I don't think this is on par with Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Psycho. That is not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that the Ed Gein story that it took, I think, did better than Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Psycho, because both of those films went their own way with it. As to this one, really stuck to the source material of what Ed Gein did. So this is not even on par with Psycho and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Those are 2 of the best horror films of all time, in my opinion. This one is not. But I'm just saying that you get what I'm saying. So, yeah, I just didn't want people to take my words the wrong way. So, 9 minutes in, we still got a couple rounds. Let's see. Round 3, blood, guts, and gore. Which one had more blood, guts, and gore? Terror Train had a pretty good amount of gore in it. And Deranged, for a 1974 film, had some pretty gruesome stuff as well. Once again, there wasn't much in Deranged, though. But there was they had a slight better advantage in Terror Train. So I'm just going to give this round, once again, to Terror Train. Because there was more gore in this movie than there was in Deranged. Well, hold on a second. I have to take that round back. Trying to just think beyond what happened. No, I'm going to take it back. Deranged had some pretty disturbing scenes in it as well, and some pretty good gore, actually, for its time, that they were able to do what they did. Because I remember there's some messed up scenes in there. So, yeah, especially when the body's hanging upside down, that he's carved out like a deer. Okay, yeah, I'm giving that to Deranged. Round 3 goes to Deranged. But Terror Train had some pretty good stuff in there, too. So I'm not down on that movie, I'm just saying. Okay, so number 4 is personal enjoyment and replayability. Terror Train has 2, and Deranged has 1. So let me just say, I love Deranged. I think it's a really good movie. It definitely is not one of my favorite horror movies of all time, but it is a fun interpretation of Ed Gein, or Ed Gein, whatever you want to call him. But it's a fun movie, but I would have to say personal enjoyment and replayability does not go to Deranged. I think Terror Train wins this one because it is a fun... this is when slashers... This is after Halloween just happened, and this just came out, and slashers were starting to dawn. And, they were starting to rise, so to speak. And this one did really good, I think. It's not my favorite. It's not the best, not the worst. It's a fun slasher. It's definitely got some replayability, fun kills, fun characters, good characters. They actually feel like real fleshed out characters, and I think Terror Train is just a good movie. Now, some people may not like Terror Train, or you may like Terror Train. Like I said, anybody's going to have a different opinion. So check Terror Train out, definitely. And sorry, Deranged, Terror Train has beat you. Terror Train has won the battle. It's taken the cake. You are dead. So Terror Train has won the battle. But like I said, Deranged is the shit, too. Deranged is awesome. I really want to give both of these the props that they deserve, because Deranged is an awesome movie as well, and it really flies under the radar as well as Terror Train. Not a lot of people talk about Deranged, and it's one that you should definitely check out. Terror Train, Deranged, both awesome films, but only one could be a winner. So there you go. There's my winner. So, thank you for watching, guys. You just watched Late Night Frights, and yeah, comment below and tell me your personal opinion on these films, and go subscribe to the channel, subscribe to all the members, subscribe to my second leader, All Random Things. This is the J Sloan. Thanks for watching. Comment, subscribe, and as always, guys, keep it horror. Peace.